Good Man Stuff Monday. Today on Man Stuff Monday, we are talking about the principle of progressive overload and how it relates to more than just your physical fitness. Coming up on Man Stuff Monday. All right, y'all, I'm going to talk a little bit of physical fitness stuff for a minute here, weightlifting, running, but I promise I'm not turning this channel into a fitness channel. I'm just relating this back to some just general principles about masculinity and manhood. However, I will talk about the fitness journey I've been on. So, December 6th of 2019, I turned 39. And I realized to myself, man, I am staring down the barrel of 40. And for those of you guys who don't know me well, I was a college football player, high school football player, trained as an athlete for years and years of my life. But then continued that for quite a while after I graduated from college, continued to train. But then life happens, and between marriage, children, career, various things like that, I just focused my energy elsewhere, and I was not treating my body well. And so pretty much the entire decade of my 30s, man, I treated myself pretty rough. Not getting good rest, not getting a good diet, not getting the exercise I needed to maintain a good physical fitness. And some of the effects thereof began to show. And when I turned 39, I thought to myself, man, I need to treat myself better in my 40s. I'm staring down the barrel of 40. So I made myself a promise right then and there. I said, all right, it's December. We've got January coming up, and I know the gyms will be packed full of New Year's resolutionists. I said, as soon as we give them a little bit of time to clear out, I'm gonna go get myself a gym membership. We'll whoop it back into shape. We'll be good to go. And I get in there. I get my membership about mid-March, and if you're thinking along the calendar, March 2020, you know what's coming. I get in there. I work out really, really hard. Get sore. I said, all right, it's been a while. Let me take a little time to get over this. And by the time the soreness dissipated, I get an email from the gym. We're shutting down for coronavirus. And so I'm like, wow, I got all fired up. I was ready to go. What am I going to do now? How am I going to just not let this be something that deters me or stalls me? I said, all right, I'm going to continue to push myself even though my gym is closed for however long it was going to be closed. And so I just got on my phone, began downloading apps. I got air squat apps and push-up apps and running apps, and just kind of focused on what are some fitness things I can do in the meantime and not use the excuse of the gym being closed. And so did that for a time period. Finally, gyms open back up. I get in there, I start working out, and man, let me tell you, when you are working out with weights that were formerly your warm-up weights, it's a humbling moment. But I said, I'm gonna eat this one. I did this to myself. I chose to take a decade off, and so now I'm just gonna man up. I'm gonna lift humbling levels of weight. I will push through until I get to where I'm more satisfied with my strength level, and we'll move on from there. So I mentioned earlier I was going to talk to you about progressive overload. So after I worked out for a while, just to kind of remember what it was like, get my muscles and joints and ligaments used to bearing certain loads with certain movements, I started doing a program that was a strength-based routine that was based around the concept of progressive overload. So I only did a certain amount of exercises. I did them every week. I did them 3 times a week. And the idea was every time I did a particular exercise, add 5 pounds. So I bench press, and say I was benching like 150. The next time I come back in, I bench 155. The next time I come back, I do 160. You keep on adding until it gets on up into the 200s. And essentially, when it comes to weightlifting, and I'm going to tie this back in, even if you're not a weightlifter and you have no interest in weightlifting, I'm going to tie this back into your life in a moment. It comes to this principle called progressive overload, where I will just progressively add more. Because, man, if I were to go into the gym and do the same exact routine with the same weight, with the same intensity every single time, my body is the ultimate adaptation machine, and my body's gonna say to myself, this is all I need to do. This is good to go. That's all I have to accomplish. But if I constantly add 5 pounds, add a rep, add a set, if I add more stimuli to the workout, my body's gonna adapt and say, oh, we need to change. We need to grow. We need some mass. We need some strength. We need to tighten up and make the muscles do what they do. Now, when I was studying this concept of progressive overload, I ran across a Mark Rippetoe video, and he was talking about progressive overload. And if you don't know who Mark Rippetoe is, if you are interested at all in beginning strength training, he actually has a program called Beginning Strength. I highly recommend checking it out. But he was talking about the principle of progressive overload. And he says, you will never know what you're capable of until you push yourself to the brink of failure. If you continue to add more weight, you don't even have a starting point of who you are and how strong you are. And obviously, when I was doing this research as it pertained to my weightlifting, I was immediately pertaining that thought process to, I don't know what my body is capable of until I push it to the brink of failure. But the more I thought about what Mark had to say that day about progressive overload and what he had to say about pushing your body to the brink of failure, I started thinking about other areas in my life. And I started thinking about you guys watching on Man Stuff Monday. You don't know what you're capable of. You don't know the load you can bear in life until you push yourself a little further. Because you, just like your body, your life is the ultimate adaptation machine. If you've been telling your life, this is all I need to do to get by. I need to wake up at this time, I need to do these 5 things, and then come back home, eat dinner, and go back to bed and do it over again. If that's all you've told your life that it needs to do, your life will adapt to that, and you'll believe that's the load I can carry. I can remember at a former job, I had one role on my portfolio, and I was doing it as well as I could, just going after it. And something happened over time. I ended up working for this particular organization for 9 years. And as I worked for them, some of my coworkers would move on to new positions or transition to another position within the organization. And things that were on their portfolio would suddenly make its way to my portfolio. And by the time I was done working there at the end of 9 years, the one thing that was my full-time job ended up becoming a fifth of what I did. I didn't know what I was capable of. My coworkers didn't know what I was capable of until all of a sudden they began adding things to my plate. Here, well, let's see if you can handle this aspect. Let's see if you can handle this responsibility. Let's see if you can handle this role. And all of a sudden I realized I had way more capacity. My bandwidth to get things done and accomplish and lead was way bigger than I thought about myself. Prior to that, I was like, I thought like, I've got this one little thing and I better do this well, and if I can even do that. And all of a sudden I realized my bandwidth, my capability, my leadership was way bigger than that. And that was because somebody looked at me and believed in me and said, here, let's put some more weight on you. Now, I want to encourage you today, yes, apply some of these principles I'm talking to you about today to weightlifting, to your fitness. I encourage you to do some fitness. I'm going to tell you about one challenge that I'm doing in a moment here. But apply these principles to your life, to your job, to your family, to your marriage. You don't know what you're capable of until you try something new. You can do what you've always done and you'll get what you've always had. You can mimic the relationship and family patterns that you grew up in. You can mimic the co-workers you've been around. You can mimic the neighbor, the friend, the brother that you've always seen, or say, you know what, I'm going to push myself a little further. I'm going to progressively overload my life. I'm going to add some things. I'm going to add some challenge. I'm going to add some hard things to see what I'm actually capable of. I don't want to limit myself to my past. I don't want to limit myself to my own low expectations or a low self-esteem. I want to expand my horizons. What has God created me to be? Who has He created me to be? And reach for that. Not just what I've thought about myself in the past, not just what others have told me about me, not just what I've done in the past. How can I push myself? How can I progressively overload my life? Now, I'm going to be pushing myself really hard for these next couple of months here. I'm going to be doing a program called 75 Hard. And like I said, I'm not going to turn this channel into a fitness channel. You're not going to be, I'm not going to be vlogging my 75 Hard, and you have to watch all this the whole time. I will use Man Stuff Monday occasionally to give you an update on how I'm doing with it. But let me tell you what 75 Hard is. 75 Hard is a program made by Andy Frisella. I believe he was the CEO of First Form. But it comes with 5 things you have to do every day. You have to do 2 workouts a day. Both the workouts have to be at least 45 minutes long, and one of them has to be outdoors. You have to read 10 pages a day. You can't do an audiobook. It's something that's going to be nonfiction, something that's going to be self-help, something that's going to improve who you are. In fact, some of the reading that I'm going to do on my 10 pages a day is going to be content material that I'm bringing back here to Man Stuff Monday. So my 75 Hard is going to be bringing content to this particular channel. In addition to the workout and the reading, you have to stick to some form of a diet. You don't have to do a fad diet, you don't have to be keto, you don't have to be carnivore, but you have to have some sort of structured diet, and you're not doing cheat meals, and no alcohol during the 75 Hard. The next thing you have to do is you have to drink a gallon of water every day. I'm going to be carrying this guy with me. Oh, dang. I'm going to be carrying this guy with me everywhere I go because it's a quart per container. So I'll be filling that up 4 times a day, and I'll be running outside, but I'll also be running to the restroom a whole lot from what I hear. And the 5th and final thing you have to do is take a progress picture every day. And one other thing I forgot to mention in the first take of that video was this. The 75 Hard, those 5 things you're doing, if you miss one day, you're back at day 1. So you could be on day 74. You did all 4 things, but you forgot the 5th, starting back over. 75 Hard, hey, if you want to do it with me, jump in. You can just download their app, or you don't even have to use the app if you're disciplined enough just to write it down yourself. But like, so this is more than just a fitness routine that I'm about to do. It's the progressive overload that I was talking about. It's going to be a progressive overload under the bar. But it's more of a mentality and a heart thing. Can you be disciplined to work out twice a day? Can you be disciplined to read 10 pages a day? Some of the people have told me the hardest thing about 75 Hard is drinking a gallon of water every day. But whatever it is, for some of you, taking a progress picture every day is going to be difficult. But I believe that I'm doing this not just to lose weight or gain muscle. I'm sure all that will happen with that kind of a regimen. But I'm doing this for mental toughness. I'm doing this to grow as a man. I'm doing this to add progressive overload, not just to the bar that I'm lifting, but add progressive overload to the life that I'm living. Guys, I want to encourage you guys to jump in. Even if you're not doing 75 Hard with me, jump in a lifestyle of progressively overloading. You don't know what you're capable of until you push yourself to the brink of failure. God bless you, and go take your mountain.